Now, Lindsay, you were getting into this big oil rig and why they're planning to open up these fields that they've kept shut since the late 70s that you, in 1980, exposed in your book. But specifically, I mean, why are they planning this? And then what's all the other big news that you traveled out of the country to get?
The price of $5 per gallon at the gas pump is only temporary. I did not mean to say that this is something that's going to stay this way. The other reports you're getting are correct. They are going to take it to $150 to $200 a barrel. But temporarily, because of people like you, Alex, waking up so many Americans, they are going to keep the price at $5 a gallon until they feel the American people have calmed down enough they can take it further. Now, the next statement that I'm going to make, it will probably affect your life more, and you've never heard this before. It will affect your life more than any other one thing that you will hear me say, ever. Here goes. The elite are getting ready for the day that the revolution in the Middle East cuts off oil supply. They have a target date. I cannot give it to you. It's not too long off. They have a target date when the Middle East will be in such revolution. Started Egypt. You remember I announced this on the Alex Jones show. Alex, it's in your archives. I came on your show, and I said within 4 to 5 months' time there's going to be a crisis in the Middle East. And you said, Lindsay, is it going to be with Iran? And I went back to my Mr. X, and I said, is it Iran? And he said, no. He said, this is a crisis of another sort. And 4 months later, it started exactly as the elite had told me. Egypt first, Libya, Yemen, mark my words, it's going to go right on into Jordan, Syria. The final country will be Saudi Arabia. Their plans have not changed in any manner. They know the approximate date that they're going to be able to do.
But that's what Tucker said 2 weeks ago. You said this in October. Tucker's sources said that they do plan on bringing the entire Middle East down, and they're going to blame the oil prices on that and then blame the depression on that. But what you're saying about them gauging going to 150, first it's $2, they go to 3, you get mad, they go back to 250. Then they go to 4, then they go back to 3. Then they go to 5, they go back to 3.5. They go up to 4, they go back to 350. They go up to 5, they go back to 4. They're always training us 2 steps forward, 1 step back, to where now we think 350 is cheap. See how we've been conditioned. So that's what they're saying, is they're going to try to move a little bit slower.
They backed off to $5 temporarily because of people like you, Alex, because people are waking up too fast, and the elite are getting scared of the public waking up. Okay, put this date down. I know we've got a few more minutes here only, and I got to cover as much as I can. I've got another major briefing I want to give you here. Put this date down. May the 12th, 2011. There was a bill that went before the House of Representatives on that date. It was very quietly done. It never hit the national media. More than likely, you never heard about it. And this bill that went through the House of Representatives on that date, May the 12th, 2011, there was a vote of 243 to 179. And what were they voting on? They were voting on something that will startle you. They were voting to, well, first of all, they wanted to reverse President Obama's Offshore Moratorium Act. Obama has given them some problems, by the way. I can't go into that now for lack of time. They take a whole program. Let's go back. They reversed his opinion, and they said, watch it. Oh, please, you've got to note this. I've been waiting 35 years for this. I'm so excited I don't know what to do. They have given permission for drilling where Gull Island, in my book, Energy Non-Crisis, wrote about 35 years ago. They are opening up the Bristol Bay area of Alaska. They are opening up the Arctic Wildlife Refuge. I do not know whether this has been through the Senate or not. I can't find out. Nobody will tell me. I can't look it up anywhere. It did pass the House of Representatives. Now, why are they doing this? They're doing it because they know the approximate date that the Middle East, all of the royal family, every one of them, even the royal family of Saudi Arabia is going to be deposed. Mark my words. Oh, I'll give you another one, too. Just in passing quickly, and I can't elaborate on this right now, we are going to default on the national debt of the United States of America. I'm not talking about raising the debt limit, which you're hearing so much about. We are going to default on the national debt of $14 to $15 trillion. That's just in passing. They know the approximate time already.
Okay, well, please give us, if you have it, what the plan is, what the time frame is in the Middle East, and will they raise the debt limit and then after default, or what are they looking at doing right now?
I do not know whether they're going to raise the debt limit or not. It really doesn't matter with them because there's going to be a default on the national debt regardless. Now, they have a general idea of how much longer it's going to take them to depose every royal family and throw down every ruler in every country. So far, they've gotten Egypt, Libya, Yemen. They're going on from here to Jordan, Syria, and Saudi Arabia, Oman, and the other countries will fall in this same time frame. And whenever they do, they must produce have the American oil fields ready to produce by that time. Is the reason they pushed through. Oh, they paid off. I mean, literally, they paid congressmen off to vote on this thing on May the 12th, 2011, and pass this bill through the House of Representatives. They have got to have permission to drill in these places to get the oil ready so that at the time the Middle East oil supply is cut off, the dollar is devastated, the national debt can't be paid any longer, and they've got to have a savior. They will step in and say, okay, we have found these monstrous new oil finds. There's only one problem. My book, The Energy Non-Crisis, told about it 35 years ago, and they've got a problem with that. You can read it for yourself if you'll get a copy of it from Amazon Kindle. And these things will be opened up at approximately the same time so that they can supply the oil for the United States of America. And they'll come in and say, they can produce it for 60 cents a barrel, and they're going to sell it to you for, you know what they're going to sell it to you for, $150 to $200 a barrel. Now, the Bakken oil reserve in North and South Dakota and Montana. If I wanted to make money these days, I would immediately get an oil rig if I was a young man and go up there and make a fortune. They are punching holes everywhere. It is light, sweet crude. They must have it ready for the time that the Middle East, it falls completely. The last one to fall is Saudi Arabia. When you see Saudi Arabia fall, folks, you better put on your listening ears because there's going to be major events take place from that point on. The Bakken Reserve, the reserve under Denver, Colorado, the North Slope of Alaska, they must have all of these ready, Alex, by the time that the Middle East falls.
I understand that. Now, Lindsay, what else? I mean, you travel out of the country to meet with this guy in person, and then you've also talked to him in the last week on the phone. What else did he tell you? Because we see them setting up the Pentagon takeover of the Internet. That's mainstream news today. We see the Pentagon admitting they're going to test cyber attacks on other infrastructures. That's the cover. We see more and more censorship, FBI shutting down mainline websites for no reason. We see the big gold exchange announcing that the way they interpret a new law, that over-the-counter gold sales can't be done now. We just see TSA on the streets. I mean, you can see the massive buildup, huge Marine Corps amphibious drills, our intelligence from Fort Hood and other bases. It's on late September, early October, ground invasion of Libya. They're taking him out one way or the other. I mean, did your source say why they're going after Gaddafi? I mean, why do they need to get rid of people that were already working with them? Well, I know the answer. They're double-crossing them. They're going to develop oil fields here now that they'd made a deal 30 years ago that's now on record to not develop if they would invest the T-bills. They're double-crossing the Arabs, so they got, I guess, have to put in new puppets who will go along with that double-crossing?
No, they want to cut off the oil from the Middle East altogether. I mean, it's not a matter of overthrowing rulers. They don't care about Mubarak. They don't care about Gaddafi.
So they're just wrecking everything and bombing the oil fields, as they're doing in Libya, to just wreck it.
Yes, they're producing war intentionally, and here's the part that's so startling, Alex. Oh, my goodness. The elite, please bear with me here, folks. You know I'm an American. You know I'm staying here. The elite are laughing at the Americans. They think we are stupid. I mean, this is so startling, I hardly believe what I heard. The elite have been planning for years what they're doing right now in the Middle East. This did not happen just overnight. It just so happens that I knew about it 6 months ahead of time, but they've been planning it for years. The elite created the crisis. Now, of course, here's what I found. The elite are laughing at Americans because we are so stupid that we are allowing this to continue. Okay, listen to the article right here. And here it is. Obama, our president, rejected the opinion of Jay Johnson, the Pentagon General Counsel and rejected the opinion of Carolyn Prass, the acting head of the Justice Department legal counsel. And the New York Times just reported on this the other day. Johnson and Prass told the White House they believe that the U.S. military activity of NATO led air war over Libya amounted to hostilities. And this president, he has given them some problem, folks. Understand it. I'm only repeating some of the things I've heard. They said the War Powers Act of War Powers Resolution of 1973, he has risked his future in politics by balking these people, and he has to. He has no choice. The elite have told him he's got to do this. He must continue to use, folks, this is what's so startling. He must continue to use the American taxpayer's dollar to overthrow every one of these countries in the Middle East, and you are paying, Americans, you are paying for your own destruction. And letting this stupid president get by with it, I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, that's why they've got, the CNN host, Fareed Zakaria, coming out and saying the Constitution's bad, let's get rid of it. That article, headline, Fareed Zakaria, am I pronouncing that right? I'm having a mental issue today. I ran into him when I was at CNN in New York a few months ago, saying dump the Constitution. Obama didn't just not go to Congress and break the law and engage in treason, as his own lawyers have now told him. He said, I'm doing this to legitimize the UN, to show that they're the boss. So this is all about just rubbing our faces in it, setting the precedent to have this tyrant running around starting all these new wars, killing all these innocent people, lying about Gaddafi. I'm not saying he's a good guy, but the point is that it's been proven it's lies. Rape gangs with the Viagra, and just like throwing babies out of incubators, like they said that Saddam people did in Kuwait. That's an admitted fraud. So all of this is happening. But, Lindsay, going over your list of other things he told us, because we've gone over some of those other issues a couple times now, specifically, they want to cut off the oil, further break the economy. Then they'll come in with the oil supplies they've had for decades and start developing those. What else did he tell you? Because a lot of good things are happening. Germany's pulled out of NATO. Italy's now pulling out. French news agencies reporting. We've got Congress moving to try to block a escalation of the war. Gaddafi's holding on, something that they didn't really think would happen. They're going to have a ground invasion. They're trying to tell us this isn't a war. Even the Washington Post said yesterday no one's buying Obama's bizarre statements that this isn't a war.
Many of you have viewed my latest DVD presentation. There were 3 DVDs that I did entitled The Middle East, The Rest of the Story. Everything that I said in that DVD has been confirmed through the sources that I was just with. Every bit of it is true. Folks, for the sake of your dinner table, I plead with you. My 6 DVD set of everything the elite have told me for the past 2.5 years. If you have never seen them, it's a must for the sake of you sparing your household. And as a result, every bit of this was confirmed through these conversations I've had during just the last few days, that you, the American people, are literally paying. You are paying for your own destruction. Obama, our president, has been told by the elite what he must do. He has even risked his next election, because if this thing goes any further, he's in real trouble, but he has no choice because they've demanded him to do it. And the American people are paying to depose every one of this Middle East country now, must quickly, because I know we're giving out. I've got to go down to gold and silver. Oh, my goodness, what I was told on this is amazing. Don't pay any attention to the price of what gold and silver has done recently. Gold and silver prices will remain where they are through about August. And beginning in September, are you ready? Oh, folks, please. Mr. Fromm said to me years ago, he said, Chaplain, if it's written on a piece of paper, it's worth the paper it's written on.
Okay, what did they tell you gold prices are going to do?
The gold and silver prices from September through December are going to rise between 20 and 25%. They're going to back the new world currency with it when the American dollar falls. They have a new term now they're using. They're calling it the petrodollar. They don't anymore refer to, this gentleman didn't refer at any point to the American currency being the standard currency of the world, or the reserve currency of the world. They're now calling it petrodollars, and they said to me, I'm going to give you a sign. Here's the sign that was given.
Stay there. We'll get it after the break. And we'll try to jam in some of your phone calls as well with Lindsey Williams, basically from Jim Tucker. But why? I mean, you said that they, because there's one more person I know that you know, but you're saying that it was a briefing and that you were with them. I mean, was it more than just this former oil company head? And again, why are they telling you this?
Well, first of all, they're telling me this because of courtesy, for the fact that I gave 3 years of my life to be their chaplain years ago. I don't think they've ever gotten over this. Many of these people have never come in contact with a person like that actually lived with them, and I think much of it is out of courtesy. Then, of course, there's the fact that the elite do have a moral code, and in their moral code, they must tell the world what they're going to do before they do it. Now, I know some things get out of the Bilderbergers meeting, such as you've already gotten, but the other things that didn't get out of that Bilderbergers meeting. And they know that I'm on shows like yours and many other shows, coast to coast, and all the rest of them across the country. And they know that I'm going to give this information out. And this gentleman told me in 2 briefings, one on last Friday, another one on Monday of this week, what I could and could not say today. And so I'm giving everything that I possibly can in order to help you save your dinner table in light of the fact that the Middle East crisis is going to escalate. You will see more and more of the oil fields cut off. You're going to see an increase in the price of that oil later on this year, but they've backed off for the time being in order to keep you quiet, like a frog boiling in a pot, and try to keep some people like Alex Jones quiet, which I'm quite sure that they won't succeed in keeping you quiet on me, Alex, because we've got to give this information out. And there were many, many, many things that were said. And the main thing, of course, I think at this point is the fact that our own president is being told by him what to do, is risking his own career and bucking 2 of the leading attorneys in America for the Pentagon and for the Justice Department, and is taking taxpayers' money and paying for the war in the Middle East so that they can overthrow these royal families and heads of state, take the price of crude oil where they want it to go, produce America's own oil fields, and then turn around and destroy the American.
Well, Lindsey, there's no doubt all of this is happening. The end game is public. You were really one of the first from your sources to talk about this last October, and you can see that it's end game by how dangerous all this is for the establishment. I mean, it's bold to finance al-Qaeda and other Muslim Brotherhood groups to overthrow former allies, and then now it's admitted that the West foments these rebellions, then comes in with military force behind it, saying, oh, we've got to protect humanitarian groups while they bomb apartment buildings, killing families by the score every day. And here's Obama, the Nobel Prize peacenik. It's a sick joke doing all of this, and it's happening because that is the end game, is to just bring turmoil to the Middle East and try to implode the world economy and bring in this depression. You know, when they say prop up Greece, prop up Ireland, those countries don't even owe most that money. It is the central banks that created the derivatives and have now induced them to sign on. And the IMF and World Bank, even some of the founders of the EU admit this is all designed to implode countries.
Well, Alex, when I got back to the United States of America, I couldn't believe the headlines I was seeing. I've been out of the country for nearly a month, and I saw this headline right here. Some of you saw it. Brotherhood Party legal in Egypt for the first time. Do you realize that they're giving to the Muslim Brotherhood every single nation as they fall? Libya, and then the next one I saw. I can't believe the American people are standing for this.
Stay there. We'll talk about it. Well, if you don't like al-Qaeda nowadays, you're bad. Lurching towards the looming World War scenario. And to be living this and to see this unfolding and to see our government totally hijacked by these interests makes my head spin. And folks know that I'm not somebody that gets up here and gets into Islamophobia and hyperventilates all day about the Muslims. I know al-Qaeda was founded by the CIA. I know it's a group used to destabilize and overthrow more moderate countries. And I know that in Iraq, you know, they threw out the secular leader and put things even worse in. And that's on record. And that's the type of enslavement they want for the Middle East, actually. And you tell the average good old boy this, that, you know, either thinks al-Qaeda bad, al-Qaeda good, or America good, America bad. It's no. These are duplicitous, multi-spectrum globalists who fund all the sides and then have a synthesis that leads them to their goal. And that made Bilderberg Group a few months ago really upset at their steering committee meeting that Tucker had an insider at. And the media tried to deny the meeting happened, and later it came out that indeed Kissinger had been there, and it was a secret trilateral commission meeting. Even had Yale come out against us and some other big newspapers. And it turned out Tucker was, and later they had to change their article and say, well, okay, there was a meeting. First they tried to claim, that Tucker was nuts and there was no meeting, and then it turned out that meeting did happen. Tucker doesn't make stuff up. He's 100% on target. But looking at this, they really are trying to create order out of chaos. But first they have to create the chaos to get that order. And they really are trying to, talking to your sources, Lindsay, how big, because reportedly from the Bilderberg Group and also public statements, they want this to lead even into Russia and China down the road. And that's what Fromm told you in the other source years ago was, for the Middle East, look at China and Russia. China is the big one.
It's the big one, and even right now, with the major crisis in the Middle East and the stupidity of the President of the United States of America risking his career because he's told them they have to, all of that is totally insignificant to one thing that I haven't even talked about today because that wasn't necessarily in the briefing that I got. But Mr. Fromm told me years ago, he said, Lindsay, don't pay any attention to what's happening in North South Korea. He said, never mind the Middle East. He said, China is the big one. And, of course, you know what China's done lately. But when I got back here, let me go back into these headlines because it leads into this subject. When I got back to the United States and saw the headlines that Brotherhood, legal party, legal in Egypt for the first time, they are giving to the Muslim Brotherhood every single country, mark my words, this is a prediction based on what I've heard from them, they will be giving the Muslim Brotherhood every single country when it's taken over. Listen to this. U.S. pushes for immediate transition in Yemen. Why do they want it so quickly? I hope you read that article. They want it because they're ready to give Yemen to the Muslim Brotherhood just as quick as they can totally take it over. Nations pledge $1.3 billion for Libyan rebels. Why? Why in the world are we doing this when, if anything, Gaddafi was a friend before we went in to destroy him? And now, of course, he may as well leave before we assassinate him. Of course, this was another headline. NATO's Rasmussen urges planning for post-Gaddafi Libya. They already have it planned to do all of this. They know exactly what they're going to do. Okay, what is China doing because of all of this? The next headline I saw that startled me so much. China warns U.S. debt default idea is playing with fire. Folks, China knows exactly what's going to happen. They already see the handwriting on the wall. And because of this... China,
hold on, Lindsay. Let's briefly finish up with China, then we'll go to some callers specifically for Lindsay Williams. Look out, big collision with China. You've been saying that since last October. What did your sources say, Lindsay? Anything on that?
China has divested 97% of its holdings in U.S. Treasury bills. They already see the handwriting on the wall. They know that the American debt can never be paid off. Even the interest on the debt is not being paid anymore because nations aren't showing up to buy it. And because of that, they realize that the approximately $3 trillion that they hold, now that's not only T-bills, but the other issues of the Federal Reserve, they know that they're on the verge of losing all of that. They are beside themselves. And as a result, Mr. Fromm told me before he died, and I can see it so plainly now, the name of the game is control, and he said China is the big one. Oh, by the way, Alex, just in passing, if the elite ever get to you too much, and I know I have the problem sometimes, too, with being able to think straight because of things that they say and do and so on, there is a way. Mr. Kissinger lived to be over 90 years of age because he knows some things. Now, what's happening in the world today, folks, I don't know how to say it anymore except that everything that the elite have planned, they will keep their timeline, barring divine intervention. And they have said that the end of 2012 is their timeline for accomplishing certain things. And they have verified to me that they are on target. Because of the fact that gold prices, silver prices set back a little bit, does not mean that they've failed. and it doesn't mean that they failed because they're going to keep prices of gasoline for $5 for a short
Well,
period
they
of time.
always drive silver and gold down a little bit, and then it retraces that and goes up even more. Anybody that wants to see it, just search the term 11-year gold graphic. We'll put one on screen. Now, I promised to go to some calls. Let's jam some callers in here. Tom in California, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Good.
Briefly, I just wanted to say thank you and your amazing crew, and I can actually vouch for Pastor Williams. I'd left a message on the Prophecy website. He actually called me back, so I mean that tells you what type of man he is. He's a man.
No, I know. Lindsey Williams is a great guy. Now, Tom, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, I just was curious. Is this standard operating procedure that they go into a country, build it up, double-cross the people? I mean, it seems like this is like a bad rerun of Saddam Hussein. You know, with
the globalists are totally cold-blooded. It's absolute calculations. They cheat each other as well. That's why they're in control, because they're totally ruthless and are incredibly good liars, and were able to sell to the Western world in the last 100 years, letting them control the issuance of currency and credit. Lindsey Williams.
Yes, and they know everything they're doing. They plan it well in advance. And the end goal, of course, when the dust is settled, they bring everything to bankruptcy. They, in turn, get it free of charge. And over a period of years, I've tried my best to tell people this lately, over a period of years, they will bring it back out under their control, under the new world order, back to the place where it was when America was the great nation it was.
And that's why they want the global system backed up with petrodollars, because no matter what currency you have, there's this new global SDR digital, and to buy oil, you'll have to buy it in the SDR and other derivatives they've created. And the IMF and World Bank put out public papers saying this, calling it global government. I mean, that's what's so frustrating, is it's all right there. It's just not on the nightly news.
Yeah, they are going to issue a new world currency. It will be backed by gold and silver. They must take the price of gold $3,000 an ounce before they bring in the new currency. Silver must be $75 to $100 an ounce. Every bit of it they have a timetable for. They're not accomplishing things quite as quick as they wanted to in the Middle East. Now, of course, they're using American dollars to finish off the job. Saudi Arabia will be last. Folks, every bit of it is right there.
By the way, Libya's not going well for them. So just like our awakening's hurting them, they're not invincible, though. I mean, the Italians are now moving to pull out of the NATO operation. The Germans already pulled out. I guess it'll just be the U.S., I guess, going in then.
Well, if the American people will wake up and stop this puppet president we've got up there, they could stop him flat on right now. If they'd only get Congress to not be paid off any longer, there's no telling what it cost them to pass this bill that just went through Congress the other day. Folks, wake up. For goodness sakes, listen to everything you've been hearing Alex Jones say. He's not out there just saying something for the fun of it. What you hear on Alex Jones' program every day is exactly what the elite are telling me these days.
Well, I mean, all it is common sense and history and research. You have sources, we have sources. This is what's happening, and that's what's so frustrating is this isn't about entertainment. It's not about being a big radio host. It's not about Lindsey Williams being a best-selling author. We're trying to warn people because we have no future if this doesn't get turned around, and that's what's so painful about this. It's what's so frustrating is geopolitically, the bankers control almost every nation on earth. They're overthrowing the last few they don't. By destabilizing and curtailing oil supplies, the bankers will have the global currency, and they'll have the control of the major oil supplies, and the whole world will be held hostage by them. And now they're going to start their carbon taxing that the big oil companies are promoting. You know, I always get emails, you work for oil companies, you're saying global warming isn't real. Of the top 5 oil companies, they're the ones, along with Ken Lay, that developed the stinking plan with Al Gore. Rick Perry was the chief of staff for Al Gore. They're all on the same team. I'm sick of it.
Alex, let me put it this way, if I may, and it'll help you listeners out there. I, Lindsey Williams, I never lose any sleep at night or worry about any of the things that are happening in the world. Nothing ever surprises me because the elite have told me everything that they're going to do. I have prepared in advance, and folks, you can do the same thing. I will gladly tell you whenever people give me a briefing, as I've just had on the Alex Jones Show, I'll gladly tell you what they just told me. And if you will do what the elite have done, and you know what they're going to do, you have nothing to be worried about, because you can take precautionary measures in accordance with what you know they're going to do. Don't lose sleep over all of this.
Well, here's the problem, though. If people, and I'm going to hold you for one more segment, Lindsay, we got a guest coming up. I want to go to Paul in Australia, then we'll go to Ja, Rand, Julio, Richard. Paul in Australia, you're on the air with Lindsay Williams. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much, Alex, for taking my call. It's a great honor to be on the Alex Jones radio show, Infowars.com.
Please, you don't have to be honored. We're honored to have you, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much. Hi, Lindsay Williams. How you going, mate?
Thank you for calling from Australia.
Thank you. Yes, I find it ironic because you used to work with the on the oil rigs, didn't you, Lindsay?
Yes, I was at Prudhoe Bay for 3 years.
Wow, because wouldn't it be true that the new oil in the future will be water? That'll be the new oil commodity in the future. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Water? Well, I mean, sure. The globalists are buying up water worldwide. They call it blue gold to try to corner it and then create artificial scarcity. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, that oil will be the new water will be the new oil of the future. Yes, Alex.
No, water will not be the oil of the future. According to the elite themselves, they're going to be able to accomplish everything they want to do in bringing in that new world order by the petrodollar and by the control of oil. And it'll be a long time down the line before anything changes from the use of...
Well, here's what I want to say about this. Regardless of whether you like the petrochemical society, civilization, or hate it, I'm not debating that with people. We know they've suppressed a lot of alternative energies that they talk about through the carbon taxes, how they're trying to shift our society. They're not. What they're doing is they are holding us hostage through the oil system and then shutting it off at the same time to basically totally bankrupt us into their hands. The ultra-rich wage war against independent wealth. Correct, Lindsay?
Yes. Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing. They have this planned years and years in advance.
Anything else from Australia?
They have nothing to worry about.
Yes.
The rich never fear what's happening.
Yes, one last quick one, Alex and Lindsay, is that, quite simply, that this New World Order is that I believe it will be the Catholic Church, I do, that it will be religion put in with the, what's a theocracy? A theocracy, because it's going to come through the religious system of this New World Order.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate your call.
It's a group of elitist people, and I don't think we can connect them with any particular religious group or society, except that it changes from generation to generation. Kissinger was one of them. Daddy Bush was one of them. I mean, you go right down the line with who announced the New World Order.
Yeah, well, they got key people in every major group, and then it's a globalist philosophy. Stay there, Lindsay. Energy Non-Crisis, and Gull Island will blow your mind. You can also call and ask about the different DVD and audio CD packages where he really lays all this out at 888-799-6111 or prophecyclub.com to check that out. I'll give you those one more time before he leaves us. Let's quickly go to Ja in Michigan. Thanks for holding her on the air.
Thanks, Alex. I just joined PrisonPlanet.tv recently after watching some of your old videos on the web and said, well, I need to pay my part a little bit. And then
thanks for the support. Couldn't do it without you. Do you have a question for Lindsay Williams?
Yes. I originally was going to talk about the police state or hidden science, but this is interesting about government default here, because in the past I thought that, that could really help our country, and screw the global bankers if we said, we're not going to use 20% of our government spending.
To the advantage of the elite to bring about a default on the American debt. They have to do it in order to bring in that new world order and also to bring in that new world currency. In the meantime, it's going to hurt masses of people through their pension funds, through all of the stock market, everything else imaginable. But the main issue is to bring in the new world order. They have to do this. And, of course, it's going to devastate the United States of America because other countries are going to hate us with a passion. You remember the the agreement that was made with Kissinger way back in the days of the Carter administration and others, when he went abroad and said, we'll buy your oil, we will not produce American oil if you will buy our T-bills and securities. Well, they've been doing this for all of these years because they thought the American dollar was the reserve currency of the world. Now they are realizing that we're just fixing to do them in and cause them to take a loss of everything they've got. But it's all a part of the New World Order in order to bring in that system.
Ja, I appreciate your call. It's people need to understand the globalists are so wealthy, they own the institutions, they own the issuance of the money, and they are engaged in economic and military warfare against everyone. It is a philosophy of a bunch of social Darwinist, anti-liberty elitists who are a bunch of psychopaths, and they're waging scientific war against humanity. And they're playing different blocks of humanity and nations off against each other. And they've studied how humans operate, and they're in control because of their incredible organizational skills. And because the average person judges the world by how they are. And can't believe that there are evil people out there. Let's talk to Rand in New York. You're on the air with Lindsey Williams.
Alex, you rock. Lindsey, you're big on predictions. I got a couple I wanted to see what you thought of. Number one, if the TSA manages to make enough people mad in Texas, they do finally pass some legislation where they tell them they can't grope us in the airports.
No, the feds will blow up an airplane. There's no doubt.
Right, I'm betting that Chertoff and his minions will come on. They'll have some kind of false flag underwear bomber deal, and that's immediately what'll happen. They'll scare the hell out of Texans, and it'll be right back to where it was. Number two, this turkey shoot going on in Libya. My personal feeling about this is this less to do about oil than it is to show the world what the future of war looks like. This is going to be conducted from the air. It's going to be our drones, unmanned drones going in, mopping the situation up until they whip the opposition down, and then we'll go set some tin-pot dictator up that'll do what we want them to do. While the border of Mexico is wide open, and, you know, how much is it going to take for Hajis to come across wrapped in a bale of marijuana and come up here and start torching places that are suffering from droughts? That's what we need to be watching out for.
I hear you. I appreciate your call. Lindsey, this is the future of war. Unmanned helicopters and drones running around slaughtering people with Obama wearing a peace prize around his neck. I mean, it really is a sick joke.
Well, we're doing it. We're doing it for the elite. They want us to do this. They're using the American taxpayer's dollar and using the American taxpayer as the scapegoat in order to close down the Middle East. Egypt, Libya, Yemen, Jordan, Syria, Oman, last Saudi Arabia. I hope I'll say this 3 times. Last Saudi Arabia. When you see it hit, the elite have accomplished what they want, and they're allowing the American taxpayer to pay for it. This gripes me to no end. People should be raising up in arms.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us the latest information. Folks can find your materials at prophecyclub.com. Lindsey Williams, thank you so much for spending time with us. We'll be right back with Dr. Paul Craig Roberts via video Skype joining us to...
For these
This is the bankers screwing all the governments and private people that invested their pension funds with them. And then I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to clarify, because it would save like the 20% of government spending, but it would screw citizen bondholders, and maybe would it help us get rid of the Federal Reserve?